Bienvenidos al curso Módulo de Competitividad 10, código FG708. Today we are on week number 14. Topics for today are number 1, preservation of vegetables. Number 2, methods to preserve vegetables. Number 3, using salt, sugar, or vinegar. This is Elio Ochoa. Let's continue with our class. Here we have our class objectives, and the first one is learn how to use fermentation to preserve vegetables. Second, study different natural ingredients to preserve vegetables. And the last one, use some procedures to prepare solutions that will help to preserve vegetables and fruits. Now let's define what is fermentation. Fermentation is a fascinating and ancient process that transforms food and drinks in amazing ways. It happens when yeast or bacteria break down organic molecules such as glucose without oxygen, producing different products like acids, gases, or alcohol. Fermentation is responsible for creating delicious things like wine, beer, cheese, yogurt, bread, and more. Fermentation can also produce ethanol, which is a type of alcohol that can be used as fuel. In other words, fermentation is a process using vegetables plus salt, and these ingredients will be subtracting oxygen from the vegetables. So, and as a result, we will produce the fermentation process. Benefits of fermentation. Fermentation produces probiotic lactofermentation, and it means that with this process we are producing a total free amino acids, lysine and niacin, volatile flavors, nutritional values, postbiotics, antioxidants, bioactive peptides, and mineral bioavailability. So with this process, we are increasing and improving the mineral solubility and protein availability. And at the same time, we are reducing the anti-nutrients like the phytic acid, the phenolics, the enzyme inhibitors, saponins, lectins, and hemagglutinins. How much time fermentation will take? Fermentation usually takes a few hours or days, depending on the type of food or drink and the conditions. Did you know that fermentation is at least 10,000 years old? That's right, humans have been using fermentation for a long time to preserve food, enhance flavor, and improve health. Fermentation is truly a wonderful and natural process that makes our lives better. Fermentation timeline for vegetables. On this diagram, we can see that on day one, we let the fermentation happen in its own time and its own way. Then, on day two, after preparing the veggies and adding spices, we add sea salt in a cozy environment. A brine forms here. On day number three, the salt in the brine keeps foliage microbes from propagating. Salt also makes the veggies crisp and crunchy. Next, on day number four, bacteria, yeasts, mold, spores, and other microbes begin to compete for dominance in the brine. Then, on day number five, thankfully for us humans, the good microbes always win and the bad microbes always lose in this scenario. So after day number five, we will get the vegetables fermented. Examples of fermentations. Vegetables. Preserving vegetables using salt is a great way to enjoy the bounty of your garden all year round. Another example is wine and beer. Fermentation converts the sugars in grapes and grains into ethanol and carbon dioxide, giving them their characteristic bubbles and alcohol content. Another example is cheese and yogurt. Fermentation converts the lactose in milk into lactic acid, giving them their tangy flavor and creamy texture. And the last example is bread. Fermentation makes the dough rise by producing carbon dioxide and ethanol, giving bread its fluffy and airy structure. Here we can see a picture of some cheese. To your right, we have a cup of beer. Here we have some vegetables or veggies. And here we can see a cup of wine. And finally, here we have a piece of bread obtained using fermentation. Using salt to preserve vegetables. Salt helps to draw out the moisture from the vegetables, creating a brine that inhibits the growth of harmful bacteria. Salt also enhances the flavor and texture of the vegetables, making them crunchy and delicious. There are many methods of preserving vegetables using salt, such as fermenting, pickling, or saltling. Here we can see some vegetables like mushrooms, uh, cucumbers, carrots, and others. Okay, let's continue. Fermenting involves adding salt and water to the vegetables and letting them sit in an airtight container for a few days or weeks. The natural sugars in the vegetables are converted into lactic acid, which gives them a tangy taste and probiotic benefits. Here we can see some examples of concentrations that are recommended for different vegetables. Let me make a zoom here. Just a minute. Just a minute. I'm going to. Okay. Just a minute, please. Okay. Now we are able to see that the recommendation for Brussels sprouts, cabbage, onions, and cauliflower is 2% of salt. Then for radish, garlic, beets, carrots, 2.5%. Then we can see that 3% is recommended for cucumbers, zucchini, and summer squash. 3.5% is recommended for asparagus, green beans, and snow peas. And the last one, 4% is recommended for sweet peppers and hot peppers. Let's continue. Here I included today a video so you will be able to have a better idea about these processes. Just a minute, I'm going to activate the. Okay, now let's check this video.
First step, wash your veggies. Next step is to cut them into pieces so they better fit and fill out the jars.